Other than sex, I wonder, why would a man even need a woman today? Women don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They're in competition with men. They don't want to be wives and mothers. Some want to get married, but they don't want to live in that proper position of life, because the only purpose of marriage is to have a family, and that's been known forever. And so if you don't want to have children, there is no need to get married. And so I was wondering, why would a man even get married today? I never thought I'd see the day when women would come out of her natural role and be like a man. Even though she hate that role, when she's with a man that's weak, she hate him. But if he try to be strong, she'll stop it. I never imagined that. You're seeing good destroyed and abnormal is presented as normal. I noticed after a while that when these guys overcome their anger, they have amazing ideas about starting a business, but because they've been told that if you don't get a loan from the bank, or if you don't have a 5-year plan, or if you don't do this, and it's just simply not true. It's the first step. With faith, then all things are possible. So, but the most important thing is to return to the Father. That yearning that you have, that emptiness, that void, is not for more stuff. It's not for more friends. It is a return to the Father, because there's no way you can return to God and be angry at your earthly father. So thank you all so much, right? People around the world donated to Bond at rebuildingtheman.com, or they call 800-411-2663, and we're still committed to pointing the right way for men and women to return to the Father. Check out my book, For Raised to Responsibility. I show you how I was able to overcome anger. The spirit of anger was taken away from me. I had it. And as a result of having anger, I was insecure. I had doubt, worry, fear. I was in a fallen state and didn't know it. And it wasn't until I went and forgave my mother, who tried to turn me away from my father. I forgave my father for not being there and returned back to him. My spirit connected with his spirit, and through him, I was able to return to God. And I have perfect peace. Perfect love casts out anger. And when anger is gone, fear and doubt, worry, insecurity, suicidal thoughts, all of that is gone, and you are free. Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, or if you want an autographed copy, you can go to my website at rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that.
Coming at you a little late. Appreciate the patience. We got some stuff going on, okay? I was helping out. And also, need to be Googling. I haven't done all my Googles. I was late on my Googles, so I had to be doing my Googles, okay? You know what it means. You know what I'm trying to say. You got to get your Googles done so that now I can be live with all of you. I appreciate you tuning in, rolling in from Joel's chat. Thank you. On your way in, show some decorum, okay? You don't just walk into a house and, you don't say hi no more? You walk into a house and just say nothing? You just sit down? Exclaim. Disagree. Say you don't like, say you like. Leave a share. Whatever you got to do. Leave a share. That's nothing. Share this video. Share my channel. Leave a comment if you wish. And what's up, Rumble? Hey, Rumble. Hey, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola. Rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby has money on his mind. I got money on the mind. So we're going to get into it. Horrific, greedy people. Talk about my intro. The ghost effect. You liking it, Willie Pal? What's up, Falconing? You like the ghost effect? We're going to be talking about ghost money, maybe. I got money on the mind a little bit. So, how you doing, folks? Call me, 888-775-3773 if you want to call, if you want to talk to the Anchor Baby. But allow me to get into this here. They say gods. Some people call themselves gods, these people who... And other people believe them to be gods, these people. These people, who are these people? The people who run the world, maybe, they say. They run the world. They call it supremacy sometimes. It's white supremacy, not realizing they're calling these people their gods. Gods over their lives. They say many things. People see themselves as God. They don't know that they're pretending to be God, but it's a thing, right? It's a thing that people say. It's a topic in the Bible. God. And there's this guy who some say is maybe not a god, maybe a demon. They say many things. George Soros. You remember this name? Where's Soros been? Where's Soros at? Free Soros. Based Soros. I'm just getting you riled up, okay? George Soros, you know him maybe a little bit. They call him a god, a demon who has wrought evil upon the world with his investing. Wow. Well, money. Using his capital to do many things. They talk about the Soros Foundation, Open Society Foundation. This is where his money has gone. And if you don't know anything about these foundations, they do like to support some pretty evil things. Hey, crime, right on. Hey, corrupt DAs that let people out of crime, hey, we need to be funding that. Soros Foundation, they've found his money trail in some sordid places. And I say sordid with an asterisk because, remember, it's all pen-marked and buttoned and bowed by the American system, the American monetary system, justice system, whatever. I'm talking about Soros a little bit. Maybe you don't follow me. That's what they said about Soros, that his money has gone to these places, if you're concluding anything so far. So Soros, this video is going around again, and this is a little bit of an old video, where he calls himself God. Or they ask him, do you see yourself as a god or whatever? And I remember this went around during the pandemic, COVID, Black Lives Matter, but I think mostly COVID, where he did this interview, and he was asked about his morality and him feeling amoral when it comes to investing decisions, essentially. Being his childhood as a Hungarian Jew who escaped the Holocaust by basically pretending to be a Christian. He was adopted by a Christian, I believe, and they said they were his, and so he was able to avoid the Holocaust or whatever, and he went around even taking the property of some of these Holocaust victims. And so in this interview, they asked him about all that. If you remember the video, maybe you don't. Soros, you remember this?
In the last 2 years, you've been blamed for financial collapse of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and Russia.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Are you that powerful?
No, I think there's a great misunderstanding. I am basically there to make money. I cannot and do not look at the social consequences of what I do. As a competitor, I've got to compete to win. As a human being, I am concerned about the society in which I live.
Ooh, yeah. So it is a 2 minute. I'll let it play. Let's just let it play.
Which George Soros am I talking to now? The amoral George Soros or the moral George Soros?
It's one person. It's one person who at one time engages in amoral activities and at the rest of the time tries to be moral.
You're a Hungarian Jew who escaped the Holocaust by posing as a Christian.
Right.
And you watched lots of people get shipped off to the death camps.
Right. I was 14 years old. And I would say that that's when my character was made.
In what way?
That one should think ahead, one should understand and anticipate events. I could be on the other side, or I could be the one from whom the thing is being taken away. But there was no sense that I shouldn't be there, because that was, well, actually, funny way, it's just like in markets, that if I weren't there, of course I wasn't doing it, but somebody else would be taking it away anyhow. And it was whether I was there or not, I was only a spectator, the property was being taken away. So I had no role in taking away that property. So I had no sense of guilt.
Base George Soros. I thought I might as well let the whole thing play. Not really trying to get into the clip like that, but just let it play, let it marinate for you. I know that it was shared a whole bunch during the pandemic, and it was proof of the evil tendrils of money and evil people, etc. You know, I'm not trying to be facetious about it. It's not a conspiracy. The man has the Open Society Foundation. He's putting money towards all the things that are taking apart America in a sense, but it's not even that. It's neither here nor there. Look, he's blamed for all the above. He says they asked him about these financial collapses in many places. Back to that in a moment. As a side, I must comment on the video now, I guess, just real quick. It's one person, he says. It's one person who is both moral and amoral. A funny thing, no? That truly is everybody. All of us, even the Christians and all that, that we're both things somehow. But I guess, can you really be? The Bible doesn't say that. And on the Jew stuff, doesn't that show how shallow the media is, trying to make it like that's supposed to be the thing he's supposed to feel bad for? It wasn't him taking the stuff. It was just what he was observing. It was his world at the time. And whatever you may say about him, character building. Hey, he's there. Anyways, look, he really did learn something, about the world. He's like, just like in the markets, if not me, somebody's going to do it. Shrewd businessman. But he does conclude that why should he feel the guilt? It's so shallow, the media trying to say that that's why he's supposed to feel guilty. You didn't feel guilt that you were Jewish and you were watching these people like you should have been there? Why didn't you feel guilt about that? The world thinks that that's love. But that's a story for another time. They said he's been blamed for the financial collapse of many places. Thailand, England? Whoa. You may know George Soros a little bit. Did you know that he is also known by another name? The man who broke the Bank of England. George Soros. How did George Soros break the Bank of England? So, if you're not familiar, that's one of his nicknames. George Soros is one of the most successful investors ever, and he's known. One of his claims to fame as being the man who broke the Bank of England, okay? September 16th, 1992, they call that Black Wednesday, when a collapse in the pound sterling forced Britain to withdraw from the European exchange rate mechanism, okay? And to understand this, we have to go back to 1944, okay? And this is a volatile time, you could say, but it's also, or let's say it's a time of incoming peace. We're talking about the World Wars. Are you following? 1944, World Wars, okay? World War II. And in 1944, the world basically came together, at least the winning world. The Allies. They came together to create the International Monetary Fund. You may have even heard Bill Lockwood mention this on today's episode of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. He was talking about America and their love of communists and their really open push for decades, even before, as long as Bill Lockwood's been alive, he said, this push for socialism and communism, and how this International Monetary Fund is siphoning the money of the American people and putting it out into the global financial system, okay? But this global financial system, what is it? What do you mean? It started with this International Monetary Fund. Now, what the heck is a global financial system? That's just words. I mean, the world has been exchanging stuff for a long time. Humanity has had a global financial system, in a sense, for a long time, and it's had different leaders and systems, okay? Just keeping it general there. Well, after the World Wars, the world was a mess. The Bretton Woods Conference, formerly known as the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference, was the gathering of 730 delegates from all 44 allied nations. They met in New Hampshire to regulate the international monetary financial order, okay? And I got pics, okay? I want to do this all cool. Let me just load them up. I should have already loaded them up into my little sistema here. But the global financial system, okay? We're talking about it. What are reserve currencies and all that? Look, we're going to get into that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Allow me to push through this, through some of my assets here that I wanted to show you. Where are you? Aha! The Bretton Woods Conference. We're figuring this out as we go. Boom. And so, yeah, they came together to establish this, to establish the International Monetary Fund. This goal to regulate the international monetary financial order. Okay, the whole point is to bring stability. Okay, there's poverty. We're post-war. Even after the World War, there were like 14 more little wars, both some violent, some not, of the different peoples of the world who were told by Woodrow Wilson that all nations are every nation is sovereign. Every nation is sovereign. So everybody started fighting. They're like, you're right, we're sovereign. So like something like 14 more wars kicked off. And the world is an unstable place. They came together to combat this. We need stability. And how do you bring that stability in the world like that? Okay, we come back to the goals of this International Monetary Fund. And this system, the Bretton Woods system, so to speak, and really, here's the marker. The main goals of this international monetary system, and really of any international monetary system, is the creation of a system of easy currency convertibility, a network of easy currency convertibility, a way to exchange easily, obviously, and a global reserve currency, okay? What are these things? What are these things? I'm clunky with the pictures, but I'm trying to show you the pictures to back up what I'm saying. You feel me? Where is it? Currencies. Okay, maybe that was not that important, so no biggie. Easy currency convertibility. I wanted to show you an image from an article talking about the Bretton Woods conference that I just mentioned and the system that was in place and its goal of making this network of easy currency convertibility. You get it. Easy to move money, easy to make the economy go, easy to make things happen, to do business. Oh, you don't have to wait. Oh, that hunk of metal is not really worth what I'm trying to give. You get it. That's why money was created. So back to, and I see calls 888-775-3773. Sounds like you want to comment. Looks like you want to comment on this so far. So I'll just continue here before we get to calls. We fast forward to 1979. Now we're back to Soros and the man who broke the Bank of England, okay? And it's 1979. Europe is trying to create the euro, okay? This currency that all the European countries could use. You get it. To achieve this, the European exchange rate mechanism was a monetary system established in 1979 to stabilize the exchange rates of the European currencies and prepare them for the eventual adoption of a common currency, okay? Because you get it. They're all worth different. Their value was different in relation to each other and in relation to the reserve currencies, the best, the most stable and top currencies of the world, of which currently, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. We don't need to talk about the current reserve currencies. We'll do that in a moment. So we're talking about Soros. Now let's get to how he broke the Bank of England. You understand that Europe at the time, they want to adopt the euro, but with the values of their currency so different, how could they make it happen? Well, the ERM basically fixed this. They changed the books. They fixed all the currencies to the German mark, which was the strongest and most stable currency in Europe at the time. And the exchange rate mechanism allowed for some fluctuation within a certain range. But if a currency reached its upper or lower limit, the central bank of that country had to intervene in the market to keep it within the band. So Europe came together, said, hey, our values of our currencies are different. We're going to aim for the German mark. We're going to say all of it is worth that. And we're going to use the power of our different central banks in this unified plan to bring our bring our markets into sync so that we may enact the euro. You get it. Soros bet against that. That's what he did. He did a big old bet. As an investor, he made a bet against this. He basically said, let me tell you, and this is from, let me just show you. Soros and his big plan to bet against the British sterling, pound sterling. Let me show you. Boom. Okay, hold on. And so this reads here, Britain entered the ERM, the exchange rate mechanism, with hopes of keeping its currency above the German mark, 270 to 1 British pound. But this was practically unfeasible for reasons I'm about to describe. These existing problems were compounded by speculators who began scrutinizing the ERM and the inclusion of the pound, which resulted in questions about how long fixed exchange rates could fight natural market forces. So to counter this, the Bank of England hiked its interest rates into the teens in an effort to attract more investors to buy the pound. However, speculators such as George Soros began to heavily short the currency, arguing that this monetary intervention was artificial and unsustainable. He saw the writing on the wall. This is pretend unsustainable monetary moves. You're manipulating, all this manipulation is going to fall short. And Britain's plan to bring their currency up to the German mark was unfeasible. Now why? We're about to get into that. Diagram time. Let's see if I can open up MS Paint and paint some pictures for you. So check it out. MS Paint. We're going to draw some diagrams, okay? 888-775-3773 if you want to get on hold. And we'll be getting to calls here in a moment. But are you following so far? Are you following so far? They're saying... I feel like summarizing all of a sudden, but that's silly. If you're just... Let me just paint this picture. So you get money, right? You get it. You get like chicken. Okay? That's my chicken. You get like chicken. Okay? You have like, I don't know, you have like meat. Okay? Okay. You have like, you know those logs of meat in like cartoons? Something like this. You know what I mean? It's got like the bone. Okay, so you got your goods, and you have meat. You want chicken. You're trying to exchange it. It's all difficult, but hold up. Why don't we all just agree on something here? Why don't we all just agree on a little funny thing to make this all easy, right? A little funny thing called money, okay? We got money. Hold up. We got the moolah. And now we can just use this. We could just make the chicken and the meat worth a certain amount of this green stuff. Easy peasy. Okay, so that is a easy network of exchange allowing for an economy to work better. You get it. Now, quick diagram on, you get it, right? Money as a convertible system, okay? Easier convertible system, economy good. We're keeping it simple. Now, we're going to do a quick diagram. Fed rates, central banks, how do they dictate the cost of money, essentially? Well, you got the central banks, and they basically dictate how much it costs for banks in the country to get their money, okay? So the feds dictate that. Oh, I think we should pick a black color. The feds dictate that with their federal funds rate, their interest rates, okay? And that affects all the banks downstream. You get it? And that affects you in certain ways. Okay, downstream to the little banks, okay? You get it. And those are tools the Fed has to affect the economy, okay? To either deal with inflation and deal with different things. And they use different terms for when the Fed has a certain game plan. They call it hawkish and dovish, okay? We got our hawk, okay? Ah! That's our hawk. That's a beautiful hawk, amazing hawk. And we have our dove, little dove, okay? And when the Fed is hawkish versus dovish, we're just going to get into that real quick, then we'll move on. We're done with the diagrams. Our little dove, I've never drawn a dove. Is this a dove? Our little dove. And so what hawkish means is that a central bank of a country, we'll keep it simple, will prioritize lowering inflation. So that means they'll raise interest rates, making it what's the word I'm looking for? Making people not want to borrow because it's going to cost too much to borrow, okay? So people are going to interact in the economy less, slowing things down. Because what is inflation? out of, let's call it a runaway economy while the people aren't making enough money to keep up with it. You get it? And dovish is the opposite. They're gonna lower the inflation. I'm sorry, hawkish is lowering the inflation, raising the interest rates, and dovish is lowering the interest rates. Raising the interest rates. Apologies. Okay, real quick on that. Let's close that. Thank you, Squirrel. What's important about this? Here's why it's important. Here's why I'm talking about this, why it's interesting. Many would like to believe Soros is something of a god or a demon, an easy explanation as to why so many things are going wrong. And on some level, everyone agrees. Everyone agrees that there is a direction to things. There's a direction. It's towards decline. You see all sorts of problems being pointed out, and even less solutions. You know, you bring up some solutions, they call it far right. They're calling it far right. You know, population. They call you far right if you want families. If you say, you know, maybe something about women working and all that, but that's too far. Okay. A little lost here. A lot going on. Thanks for your calls, 888-775-3773. About to get to you. Like I set this up, people want an explanation for things, and people say they want an easy explanation for things, for why everything is declining, which is something everybody agrees on, I think. And that leads me to the story of the Japanese yen. Very interesting. The Japanese yen is one of the world's reserve currencies, if you didn't know this. One of the top currencies, and the Japanese yen is continuing to plummet. It's worrying governments around the world. The Japan, Republic of Korea, United States trilateral ministerial joint press statement. We're going to get into this here, why it's important, why it's worrying the world, and why the explanations, I think, of it's just the central bank and feds, I don't know, and Soros, I don't know if it's enough of a explanation. I hope you'll find this fascinating. We'll get into that. But I got a caller here. I want to show him a little love. He's been holding for a while. Leo, Texas. How you doing, sir? On the air.
Doing pretty good. Can you hear me now, here?
You're coming in a little garbled.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Just stay close to your phone. No speakerphone or headset.
Okay. So it's interesting that you're talking about this George guy because...
Hey, Leo.
Yeah.
Are you on speaker? It's just so garbled.
Hold on, let me turn my Wi-Fi off. Can you hear me now?
I think that's better. Thank you.
Yeah, I was in between Wi-Fi and coming in the house.
No problem.
So it's interesting that you're talking about this George Soros guy.
Yes.
I knew nothing about him, and like he came across my feed, my YouTube feed, and I was like, interesting. And billionaire, and I'm like, wow, man, the same thing that's in him is in me. And I'm like, yo, that dude is dealing with it on a massive level, though.
You're talking about that video, right?
Yeah.
And what part of it had you saying that?
I identified with the just his he's got a lot of pride. He's got a lot of pride, and
what makes you say that? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm following your conversation.
What made me think that he has a lot of pride is his ability to sacrifice others at the expense, and he doesn't make any apologies for that. It's just like, this is what we do. Like, we out here, like, we're top tier. Like, I'm about the money, you know. And if you don't like it, and people are gonna get hurt in the process, like, it's a part of the game.
Hey,
and
you know,
I think that's
go on.
The definition of a capitalist, like, to me.
Yeah, Soros, you say?
Say again?
You say Soros is the definition of a capitalist?
Yeah, if a capitalist is, from my understanding, that is, you know, somebody who's, you know, they're out for money, but they don't mind if it's going to tear down the people. So, they just don't care.
Is it true that capitalism is a stepping stone to socialism? Did someone say something like that? I know Karl Marx said democracy is the road to socialism. But I feel like I heard someone say that capitalism is a stepping stone to socialism. And I don't know if that's a real quote or am I just remembering something someone said?
I have no idea. No idea.
Because I'm remembering something. I'm remembering Hake say something like that. I don't know if that's a quote from something, but it makes me think about the things that Hake has said about communism and a capitalism without morality, in a sense. How, if you think about it that way, of course it could be a stepping stone to socialism.
Yeah, I think it's all netted in, and I think it's all a game that I don't want to play myself personally. Yeah, but I think it's definitely netted in.
Interesting. Hake says he got that from Bill Lockwood. He referenced the dialectic, how capitalism, then it goes socialism, then communism. Huh. Interesting. So it's not, see, I've heard that when I first kind of got into conservatism or whatever, I remember seeing a lot of focus on economic system. We're not communists, we're capitalists. And that was a sort of a standard of morality for some. But those are just
Nick,
monetary
I wanted to
systems.
ask you,
yeah, quick. Go ahead and then we'll move on.
Do you participate in the politics? Do you play that game?
You mean like voting and stuff? I voted for, what did I last vote for? I think I voted for like the midterms or something like that. But I know I felt silly. I remember feeling silly, going like, who the heck am I even voting for? And I'm pretty much on the Trump train only. I don't see anybody to vote for. I don't see anybody to vote for anywhere. Republican, especially not Republican. So
yeah,
I feel like voting for Republicans right now is playing some game that I don't want to play.
I think like the only way, like your homes are what matters most, and
your what you said?
The Trump train. Your homes, like I think you can only implement policies like in your homes and think ways to live, and because I think once you start playing Captain Save the World, I think that's a dangerous game.
That is interesting, and I'll alley-oop that with what I want to talk about, which we're talking about the monetary system. It's so grand and big, and the gods and demons of the world are oppressing you, the listener. But there are, I think, there's a way to combat this evil world, and it starts with you, and I think it starts and ends with you. So that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to share this. I think this happened to me today, and it was such a good, amazing conversation. A sibling of mine called, and I'm a lone wolf. I don't have any family, but I do have siblings out in the world. And when I saw that number hit on my phone, I said, I already know what this sister wants. She wants money, and and I was gonna give her the money, Nick. But I just wanted her to admit that she's using me. And I wanted her to know that I wanted her to know the depths of my heart, what I was saying on the inside, which was, I have pity for you. That's why I'm going to give you the money. So I told her I was going to give it to her, but she has to recognize that she's using me. And she said, forget it, and hung up and was really mad.
Good. I'm glad she didn't take I'm glad she didn't take the money from you. Because... yeah. I mean, it's just better for both of you. Let's be real. But hold on. You said the depths of your heart. What do you mean? Can you describe the depths of your heart in this situation?
Meaning, like, I didn't want to. If I was thinking something or feeling something, and I didn't want to say it. It's like when you think somebody is something, but you never really say it. So you think you're a good person for not saying it. So because you don't want to hurt their feelings. So I didn't care about if I hurt her feelings, and I was just like, this is what I'm thinking, and I want to share that with you. Doesn't really matter.
I understand
but
that.
I want you to know that I'm thinking that you're using me right here, and I'm not going to be silent about that.
If I may, Leo, I understand. It almost sounds like the standard of morality here is like, well, I have no qualms in what I'm saying here. But that's not really, that's not the standard of love. Let me ask you this. Look at it this way. Look at it this way. When you were asking her, wasn't there a thrill? Wasn't there a bit of a thrill like that she would, if she were to say this, if I were to make her say this, I'll feel better. Like it's just thrilling somehow. I'm just saying that doesn't sound like love either.
Oh, no. It wasn't
I don't know if you thought about that.
It wasn't a thrill, but I still got the thrill in it though, because she said, because she said, I asked her, why didn't you ask, you got 2 other siblings, why didn't you ask them? And she was just like, I knew you were most likely to have it. And so I got that thrill from that, because I was like, oh, she didn't. I got a little thrill, but I ignored it. And I was like, you know what? That's a
Did it
thrill.
offend you?
We're going to move. No, it actually, it was.
Did you want her to see the light and teach her a lesson?
I wanted her to realize that I didn't really care if she learned the lesson, but I did tell her, like, yo, you're 28 years old. It's very important. Like, I'm the only one that never graduated high school. You guys are all smarter than me. But why do I have what I have? It's because I follow an old rule, which is you save for a rainy day. You ever heard this expression I said to her?
Big time.
I'm like, you gotta do that. And if you want to live in this world, anything can happen at any time, and you gotta follow that rule. So
and now talking to you, I realize your
intention.
intention, man. I'm talking to you here. I realize where you were, your intention. But let me ask you, like, let's say you had a kid and you wanted to teach him that lesson. Would you give that kid money to teach that kid that lesson? But that's what you were going to do with your sister. As long as she said, as long as she admitted, hey, I'm using you, you would get. You think a kid would learn? If you told a kid, hey, if you told a kid, if a kid, you know what I'm trying to say, like, what if she's lying to you? You get it, like.
Yeah,
the motivation was to me as the listener hearing you. It becomes clear that the motivation was not the teaching of the lesson, but the you seeing yourself as someone who got her to see something that she wasn't seeing. Not really about her really learning the lesson, because you don't really learn the lesson if you still give them the money.
Oh, okay. So here's where my struggle. Yeah, you're identifying a struggle that I'm having. I think that in my brain, and I might need to change this, there's different rules for my son than there is for my daughter. So there's different rules that I will go about it differently for the woman than for my son, and that might be what's causing some hell in my life. If that's not right.
I know that makes. I think so. Actually, I'm just what you said. I'm thinking a father might handle a certain way. Hey, whatever you see fit in your life, I'm just commenting and reacting to what you're telling me, and I appreciate you bringing it so that we all may hear and learn. But you do what you got to do in your situation. You know best, sir.
For sure, man. It's good talking to you, Nate.
A pleasure. Call me again, man.
Move the wheels.
Big time.
Yeah, for sure. Bye for now.
888-775-3773. Amazing. What are y'all saying? We got to get into the Japanese yen. It's a mess. It's breaking barriers. Is this the advent of Bitcoin? Why is cryptocurrency even a thing? Why is that even a thought? Could it be the international monetary system? The trust in it is waning. Look, we're going to get into it because I don't think central banks totally explain what's going on. But we got some super chats. Lin Yan Chin, thank you. Totally. Yeah, no, I'm getting a text from a friend. I know these texts from a friend, sometimes you guys are like, hey, those people, why aren't those people super chatting? How come they get a direct line to you? Because they're my friend. Okay? But 100%, man. Lin Yan Chen, thank you for the super chats. The Egyptian word, let me do this sequentially. Lin Yan Chen says, thanks for having allowed yourself to analyze Lin thought, which isn't intuitive to you. This is compensation for your time. Was nothing worth sharing? Lin Yan Chen. You know, Lin Yan Chen, we have interesting conversations. And we've been talking about key sense. He's been on this kick. He's been on the key sense series. If you know anything about key and sensing key, it's sensing the world around you. And he describes this thing with the senses as a sort of superpower of key sense. I just take it like this. Take it in. You have the senses. What are the senses? Data interpreting. No, really not data interpreting, but data collecting apparatuses, okay? This data, which is the physical world around you, is then interpreted by what? The neural network, the brain, whatever. And then you perceive the world. This same perception is always active, even if you block yourself from one of them, like closing your eyes. And if you've ever noticed, when you sit in a room and you close your eyes, you can still kind of see the room around you. You get it? You kind of still see it. That's my thing on that, Lin Yan Chen. And in a sense, maybe if you're really aware of that and heightened in a sense, maybe maybe that's a superpower. But is it a superpower if everyone has it? If everyone has it within them? Is it a superpower? Or is it just something else? Okay, Lin Yan Chen, thank you. We got some more. He says, the Egyptian word for soul is ka. This means the Japanese word that is also a Hawaiian king. The Kamehameha is a soul attack, not a physical one. Where's he lying, folks? Carver, thank you for your super chat, says, Knit MS Painting is the greatest segment ever. Also realizing why the t-shirts are taking so long. Hey, only the best, okay? You needed the diagrams. You need to learn what hawkish and dovish means, at least generally, so that I can continue with this yen story. You need to know that because that is the easy explanation for what's going on. Well, the Feds in America, they've raised their interest rates. So what does that mean? That means that countries around the world would rather let go of their own currency and acquire American dollar assets because they're going to make higher returns. That is their conclusion. We'll get into that. Kaya, thank you for that. Oh, no, that's from before. Appreciate your super chats, folks. What's up, D Live, Hake Report, D Burst, Lily Poo, Mildegrew. Thank you. And I think that's all for now. Shall we do one more call before we get into more money stuff? Money. Are you following me at all? Somewhat. World Banks. See what the chat is saying. Real quick. Okay. Do we need MS Paint again? I'm not done copying. Can you put it back up? I'm sorry, Yvonne. I didn't know you still needed the diagrams. Incredible. So the Japanese yen, free fall. It's got people worrying. Why? It's a reserve currency. And reserve currencies are are at the center of a lot of movements in the world of money and so other things. And like Bill Lockwood was saying, there's been, even throughout his whole lifetime, a huge push for a global money system, with the International Monetary Fund, and many other things, talking about American politicians and their love of communists and their love of supporting dictators and totalitarians. You know, he spoke about interesting things, the Shah of Iran and how America supported Mao Zedong. And what America called, and that's the government, not the people, they called Mao Zedong a agrarian reformer. He's just a reformer. He just wants freedom. Cuba, Castro, a reformer, and beyond. There's a cult, really. There's this cult in the U.S. government that Patrick Buchanan was talking about at length and others. And this cult, this post-World War II cult, sees every challenge to American hegemony. For example, a new 1938. It's another Hitler. Slobodan Milosevic was, he led Serbia when Yugoslavia disintegrated, and because the winners at the time said you're not allowed to. Everyone who says they're free is free. And Slobodan was like, hey, no, this area is Serbia. We're calling it Serbia. They call it Kosovo, but we're saying it's Serbia. We disagree. That's a Serbian Hitler. Saddam Hussein, a Arab Hitler. 9/11. Anyways, that's totally different. That's down another rabbit hole. Go watch. Bill Lockwood, thank you for that. I mention all that, though. It does add to what I'm saying here. This global push for this global finance system. And for all of the ills you could say, by the way, for all the things you could say about current present day ills, it was the best. It was the best monetary system of all time. It's beautiful. In fact, I mean, we're still enjoying, in many ways, the decadence of it. So, the Japanese yen has fallen to what is it at? 152 to a $1 US. Yen to USD. It is at 157. 157 Japanese yen to $1 US. And the saga of the yen so far is back in March, basically. Vice Finance Minister Masato Kanda. You got to see this guy. You got to see the head on this guy. Masato Kanda. Look at that brain. That's the kind of man I want behind the money, I think. Masato. That's not even like stretched. That's just his head. And we appreciate the big head. He's the vice finance minister. He came out saying back in March, there's no reason. There's just no reason. There's no fundamentals and no reason. There's no reason for the Japanese yen to fall under 152. And then it did. And this is after the government, the Bank of Japan, which is their central bank, and the finance ministers, etc., making different promises like, hey, if it does go down, we'll get in there, we'll stop it. Okay, we'll get in there and we'll fix it up. No intervention still as of today. No intervention from the central banks. So what's Japan going to do? The Japanese yen is in free fall. Are we going to start seeing passport bros get themselves cheap Japanese women? Is what some of the people online are saying. Are you following? They're saying with this unprecedented free fall, we're talking a new low that hasn't been seen in multi decades. They're saying, well, is this the beginning of the end of economic collapse for Japan? Will we start seeing Americans, travel over to a newly to another Asian country, but that's now newly like poorer, so their women are easier to turn into passport bros. You get it? Passport bro wives. Is that what we're gonna see? What's the government doing in Japan? Do they care? What's going on? Well, the explanation, according to some, is the interest rate differentials. It's this concept, this basic concept that in the world market, when a dollar is strong, that means that imports are cheaper. So if the US dollar is strong compared to everybody else's currency, that makes it easier to buy their stuff. Because your money is worth more of their money. So if you buy all their goods that are exported to you, it's like cheaper for you. So a strong dollar for your nation encourages importing, purchasing from others, and it has similarly some similarly concluded negative consequences to the host nation's economy. a slowing down, etc. You see the relationships, right? And that's what they're saying is going on with America, with these it's something like 14 or 15 crazy, they call it crazy, but I'm just learning about it now. It's unprecedented, they say. 14, 15 different rate hikes that have been going on since like 2020 or something like that, the pandemic and all that. And these historically high interest rates, they're saying, is causing Japan to drop their money and just buy up American dollar assets because that'll get you a higher return. And so that explains it. And they're gonna tank their economy just personal gain and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if it's quite that. Y'all ever heard of a euro dollar? Fascinating little concept. And I think we'll have to leave that for tomorrow. I set you up, I think, with some basic financial things here. We did our MS Paint diagram. Hopefully this will be first in a couple of series here on world finance. And we'll learn about the euro dollar. Because here's a little quote from the New York Times, and we're going back to 1992. We're going back to, We're going back to the Bank of England and Black Wednesday and George Soros and how he he was definitely influential, but is he the total cause? Here's a quote from the New York Times speaking on that moment and how maybe we can uncover the mysteries of the euro dollar here. And so here it is. It's a quote, New York Times here. Hold on. The world's currency. Here it is. Hold up. Here's a little quote. Oh, oops. The world's currency. Hold on. Lil Nick, tell us what that says. The world's currency markets, it seems, are no longer governed by central bankers in Washington and Bonn, but by traders and investors in Tokyo, London, and New York, as the chaos in the currency markets this past week has shown. This quote is interesting because it starts to uncover this mystery of something called the euro dollar. And really what it is, I think we can leave this for another episode, is this network of easy currency convertibility that came about as a continuation of this international monetary fund and this international monetary order post World War II, this continuation of it. The euro dollar is basically what money is today. It is money. The euro dollar is money. It is what money is. And when you look it up, if you get the definition from Investopedia, you get something akin to the term euro dollar refers to a U.S. dollar denominated deposits at foreign banks or at overseas branches of American banks. But that doesn't really begin to explain what it really is. From that definition, you conclude that, okay, so it's foreign banks holding a bunch of U.S. dollars. But that's not exactly it. It's foreign banks holding claims to U.S. dollars. They don't necessarily even have them. It's a ledger of U.S. dollars. You see, the world agrees that the U.S. dollar is so strong and stable, in fact, and so strong, in fact, that they call it a reserve currency. They agree on its stability and its ability to exchange wealth easily and funds and all that. Now, what happens in this world with this financial system and the world, the post-world wars? They all got this excess money. They all this money and wealth, and everything's going so well. What do they do? They come up with an interesting system. They come up with an interesting system of exchanging this money, not just in your nation, but around the world, in a way that was never done before, and was the best international monetary system of all time. We're still enjoying it in a sense, even though it's kind of falling apart. So, this international network, we'll explain in another episode, is what has allowed people to allowed all these banks and people with wealth in the post-world wars to, and not just let it sit there, to give it to a bank or a company or something else all the way to the other side of the world. So understanding the Eurodollar should be a fascinating thing here, I think. I hope you'll find it interesting. I'll leave you with this, I think. Hold on. I think that's everything. I'll leave you with this. What else did I want to say? What's the last thing here? Hold on. It's called a euro, not a Eurodollar, says Pete Wilkins. Pete Wilkins, you're not going to make it. A Eurodollar is not a euro. A Eurodollar, that's where I was. I told you the definition according to Investopedia. But what it is it's a ledger system. It's banks around the world. So they hold on. They have a claim to a certain amount of U.S. dollars, and this claim can then be sold as an intermediary to other banks. And so it's just a network of it's a ledger network, like a ledger network of who's what's it numbers, ghost money. And for all that's not a, by the way, that's not a criticism in the sense of like I got it, I figured it out. That's what made it bad. Like I said, it seems to be the greatest so far. And now that we're seeing cracks in this monetary system, the global monetary system, so to speak, the yen and all that, it kind of makes it clear for me all the things I heard about cryptocurrency. Now I see I'm not saying it's a good investment. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just understanding the believers of cryptocurrency, what they were saying all this time. With this system under threat, it brings into question the fundamentals of what we're talking about. What is a global reserve currency? What the heck is it? Two things. It's simply two things. It's simply two things. It's that everyone agrees on it. I forgot the two things. But that everyone agrees on it and that it's stable. And what is Bitcoin trying to do? You follow me? Global reserve currency. You follow me with that line of thought? That's what a global reserve currency is. Okay, let's get to calls. 888-775-3773. We got Frederick. How you doing, sir? On the air.
What's going on, Nick?
All is well, sir. How you been?
All right. Over here jumping country to country. We over here.
We international.
Yeah.
Nice.
I want to know if you heard of this white male term that's being used. It's been used for a while, but they say it's dog whistle.
Yes, I've heard that.
What's a dog whistle?
Okay, a dog whistle, from my understanding from early cartoons, and that is my main experience with dog whistles. I don't think I've ever seen one in real life. It is a whistle that whistles at a pitch that a human can't hear, but a dog can. It's also
nice.
It's also an expression to mean when you say something that only the right person, you say something in a certain way that only the intended audience will know what you mean.
Why would betas talk like that?
Say again?
Why would betas talk like that?
Why would betas dog whistle? That's a little loaded. How do you know they're a beta? How do you know someone dog whistle is a beta?
Why can't you say what you're trying to say? Who are you scared of? Why do you need to talk in code?
That's a fine question. Fear, essentially, if we're going to keep it simple. Mm-hmm.
I hear a lot of dog whistling. I see like, well, who do they think, like, to hear the dog whistle, you must be a dog, right? So
if you hear a dog whistle, you must. Oh, okay, gotcha. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yeah, Can I jump in on that? Not necessarily, because a dog whistle.
Trying to get a rise out of the crowd to like assimilate. Like,
but you're saying if you're able to hear the dog whistle, that makes you a dog? Not necessarily, because a dog whistle whistles at a certain frequency. So not only dogs can hear that frequency, other types of animals can hear that frequency too. That doesn't necessarily make you a dog. And if we're going to keep the metaphor going, just because you know what a dog whistle means because you learned about it on the internet or because you have friends, doesn't mean that you believe that. It just means you're in the know.
But there's a such thing as dog whistling.
Totally.
And people talking code where other people know to come and stimulate or rise up or get mad, right?
I think so, yes.
At a topic that other people don't understand, but you can motivate a group of people by speaking in code at a frequency that maybe the Chinese, the blacks, and the other people. That's so beta. Like, why don't y'all just say what y'all got to say? Like, look. I ain't talking about this. But, like, United States, they put charges on Israel. You heard about them 5 units, the IDF?
Wait, what happened?
Yeah, the United States is charging 5 units over in Israel for crimes that they did before October 7th. And Israel's like, oh, that's just a slap in the face. Yeah, I'm saying
U.S. set to sanction an entire IDF battalion with a history of alleged human rights abuses on the West Bank. Who's behind this? Is it like
President Biden?
So it's like communists and people who don't really get it.
No, you're gonna do the right thing or listen to us because you're not listening when we say ceasefire. So
no, I'm just taking in the news and reacting to it. But go on, you were saying something. Go ahead.
Okay. What was I saying?
You were talking about the U.S. sanctioning this IDF.
Why people dog whistles. International bankers, you was talking about that. That's another dog whistle for the J word. And when they say, oh, these international bankers and what you talking about was going on, yeah, that's been going on. But they use dog whistles and people talk about it where you just now starting to peek your ear into the frequency like, did I just hear something? I seen when you was drawing on the chalkboard and you like trying to explain it to.
Yeah.
Yes, I was there 10 years. Yes.
Do you think I'm dog whistling Jews or something?
Huh?
Do you think I'm dog whistling Jews or something?
We're talking about these wars and helping out other countries, being everybody's Captain Save-Up country, right? But we done got too far into the mud to just cut them off and let all of that just. Why we keep sending them $92 billion? We just sent them $92 billion, right?
Yeah.
And apologize to Zelensky for taking so long. That was Mitch McConnell, right? Apologizing to Zelensky. It took so long.
Maybe we got to let the boomers' mistakes come to fruition, and then when they want the bailouts, we just ignore it.
Man, y'all can't ignore it voting for the.
No, I'm talking crazy, like as if I'm just saying things I heard, like as if it's a good idea. What the heck do you know? What the heck do I know? You think you know? You think you know, Frederick? Like, let's say you're right. Let's say you're right.
No,
and you're like,
I'm not right.
But let's say you are, and it's like this whole system is crap. And 92 billion, and I have my qualms too. Nobody's caring about America first here. But at the same time, here you are enjoying safety and decadence. So I'm just not so glib. I'm not so glib and quick with it.
You raise your hand high because when it came down to all the Americans talking about, do we need reparations for our own country? Y'all say, nah, we don't need it. Let's give it to the people overseas. Y'all love saying no to the blacks and giving it to the whites overseas.
Me?
Hey,
what are you talking about?
Plans gonna come back and bite y'all. Listen to this though.
Are you dog whistling right now?
No,
I thought that was beta.
Exactly what I feel.
I don't even understand what you're saying. It does. You're talking past me again.
Plan.
You're dog whistling to the audience.
No, I'm not.
I thought that was beta.
No, I'm never dog whistling.
You never dog whistle to the audience.
No. But listen,
I'm messing with you, sir. But hey, dog whistle's beta, sir. So you better watch that.
Right. And another thing I was gonna say. Wait a minute, Nick.
Go ahead.
I'm not dog whistling. I'm just saying, wait a minute. What was I going to say? Oh, my goodness. Forget it. I'll call back.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're not the only one I do this to, apparently. I'm a nightmare, but I love it. It's like, you got to get it out, man. You got to get it out.
I remember what it was. Anger. Anger is, listen, this is how I figured anger out, right? Anger is you emotionally punishing yourself by the way somebody else acts. I'm punishing the chat by making them mad. Right now, they emotionally punishing themselves because they don't like the way I talk. They need to fix themselves. That's what anger is. I make people emotional punish themselves. and they get angry at me and want to talk and say I got a low IQ. But really, I'm the love making you angry. I pour nothing but love in empty cups. If you got an empty cup, you deficient. I had a phone call. I was waiting on Joel, but empty cups are deficient. You want to be a rock, like a mountain with water come flowing out of it constantly so you can provide. And that's what I am. I'm a rock that overflows. My cup overflows.
You a rock?
You know what I'm saying?
Your cup overflows?
Yeah, you got to keep into other
Wait, so hold on.
people's cups.
Can I list them? Can I list them?
You can teach one.
Can I list them? So you're a rock, you're a cup that overfloweth, you're a mountain. What else are you?
Yeah, I'm a teacher. You got to teach them how to fish so they can fish on their own.
Okay, what else?
Nothing but love, baby.
You're love,
nothing. Peace, and
you are love itself. You are love itself. Wow.
Love itself. God
That's
is
amazing.
love. Yeah, God is love. You can't.
Can I ask you something, Frederick?
Everything is love.
Can I ask you something real quick before I let you go?
Yeah.
By the way, you're so right. That's the people in the. That's just the evil-hearted people showing there.
You got to be all love. Yeah,
but you're right about that. That's just the evil-hearted chat showing their evil heart if they're judging Frederick. But let me say, can I ask you real quick? When you're in the chat, making them feel, in your words, making them feel anger, so that they may see.
Right.
Is that a fair summary? So that they may see, you're making them feel anger, so they may see.
Yes,
are you thinking about yourself that way? You're thinking I'm making them see themselves. I'm showing them love, and I'm saving these people.
That's God's plan. That's my plan to be on this show, so y'all can actually take a look at yourself, look at the truth in what I'm saying, and then look at what you believe. Because I don't believe. I know, but y'all belief system have y'all so messed up to where y'all need to start knowing instead of believing, and then y'all would be like okay and in peace. You'll discern. You'll be whelmed. You won't be over or underwhelmed. I tell y'all this all the time.
For sure.
What I'm saying.
I hear you, Fred. I appreciate your calls as always, sir.
And it's not the ego. It's not the ego.
It is, man.
I'm sorry.
And in fact, that's a bit of the just because I get to, right? But that's ego right there. This whole that's ego right there. If anything, if I could point it out, that's ego right there.
No,
I'm gonna show these people I'm showing them love. I'm loving. That's ego right there.
No, when you urinate, peace, it just flows and you glow. It just smiles and you seen it. You see it in people when they got a happy spirit and they just like everybody around them and nothing's bothering them. It's just a beautiful life, and everybody should have a beautiful life. I try to help people that's stressing. Ain't nobody should be suffering. Do you know anybody that, I'm saying, like really rich that be suffering?
Probably all of them.
Probably.
You don't think rich people suffer?
People. I mean, if you're saying probably, you don't know any either. You're guessing.
I'm just saying.
I don't know any.
No, but I do. I know that.
Don't know.
I know that 90%. I know that.
We're not gonna assume.
No, but I know.
We don't see them on TV, and
No, I don't. You're right. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. This is a guess, but it's a pretty good one. I gotta say, when the whole world is evil, I gotta say, 90% of most people, including billionaires, are.
You think that many people are evil?
Well, I think probably 99%
of people are evil.
Yeah.
We would have more jails than houses if that many people.
No, but I understand what you said. Sorry.
No, you don't, because
I don't. You're right.
99%.
I don't even know why I said that. All I wanted to say was, it's a matter of now. It turns into a conversation of how we see evil, right? You don't necessarily have to. There's a lot. There's sweet people. There's the sweetest people in the world, not in jail, with a beautiful home and family and married, who are evil. So.
If they can contain it within
I'll take back the 99%
home,
because I don't really know. But I say that to paint a picture here that the heart is wicked, like the Bible says. I gotta say, I truly believe that.
And he wouldn't make 99% of the people evil.
It's gotta be close, man. It's gotta be close. Didn't he say, wasn't there a story in the Bible? He was like, he was trying to find one righteous person. And it was only one righteous person and not one righteous woman?
No.
But I guess that was some city back then.
Don't mean it was true. He washed the whole earth and destroyed all his people because he didn't make them right. That's saying God ain't perfect then. If you got to wash away a whole bunch of people.
Or it says that you don't understand him.
Can we?
Wait. No, but maybe you disagree. But can't we if you're a logical person, would you say that? Hey, or also it means you don't understand him.
You don't destroy what you make.
All right, sir.
You're perfect. If you're perfect, you make something perfect. You don't say, what I made is crap and they ain't acting right. Let me kill them all and start over. That don't sound right to me. All right. God loves everybody.
Things to think about, Frederick. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Call me again.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that, Frederick. 888-775-3773. We all appreciate. We love Frederick. We appreciate that, and we appreciate the conversation. Things to think about. I'm sure a lot of people have read that story where he flooded the earth, and they thought to themselves, "Well, why'd you go and do that, God?" Hey, guess what? I think that's a fine question to have. You're not evil for that question, at least. You're evil for other reasons. You're not evil for having a question. Okay, God's still working on you. You can have that question. Why'd you go and do that? Okay. Ecclesiastes. How do you say that? I'm sorry, I'm horrible. Anchor baby. Ecclesiastes 7, verse 28. Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Okay, thank you. Incredible stuff. What shall we do now? Let me do a quick check of super chats and stuff. You could buy me a coffee.com/anchorbaby. Before we get to another call here, 888-775-3773. Lin Yan Chin with the back-to-back. Sir, so supportive, man. I appreciate that. He says, it's a normal power that can be trained for superior range of use. Yeah. Don't they say that about blind people? You're almost forced to train, huh? JKVD, who's that? Did it in Bloodsport back in the 1990s. Is that someone I should know? JKVD. Jean-Claude Van Damme. I almost feel embarrassed now. See, I still don't know who that is. So don't confuse that for a sudden realization of who that was. No. But what I realized is that that's a name I should know for being the American anchor baby. This is what I'm talking about. I need your help, folks. I need you to catch me up. I need you to make me an American anchor baby, okay? Help me out here. Jean-Claude Van Damme. I know it's a name I should know. Jean-Claude. Belgian actor. But what were you super chatting here, Lin Yun? Chen says, Jean-Claude Van Damme did it in Bloodsport back in the 1990s. Key sense is real sense. Spakaru. This is Japanese. His Nihonified nickname for me. Ebonics is how us blacks talk in code. Means all we ever do is dog whistle to our own kind while being paranoid that the white people might pick up on our jargon. Silly sister Frederick. That's actually hilarious. If you notice, that's why there's so many updates. There's always so many updates. There's always so many firmware updates to Ebonics. What are they on now? They always got such interesting things to say. Slide on them. What the heck do I know? But you're always gonna have those youngins who are on top of it. Who are always, there was a Vine, I swear there was even like a viral video back in the day about this, about how young white people clamor, when they hear a new slang word, it's like, yes, quickly, we must adopt the new black vernacular. Adding to my theory that everyone is a little black today. So don't, you guys judge me, oh, you're the blackest one here. You don't understand the era and life I grew up in. Everyone's a little black. And we love the black people. We're learning through them. In an extreme example, that the spirit is the same in all of us. And so we may truly be united. Ain't that amazing? Uniting the races. We got Jaime out of Minnesota. How you doing, sir? Appreciate your call.
Hey, doing pretty good. Oh, yeah. How are you doing?
All is well, thank you.
That's good. Hey, what's wrong with the blacks?
What's wrong with the blacks?
The capital B blacks.
Thank you for showing respect.
That's right. So I was listening to what you're talking about with Japan.
Yes.
And did you know that Japan has had a treaty with Brazil for decades and decades? And a lot of Japanese went over there back in like the early 1900s.
Really?
To work.
Go on.
And there's a ton of Japanese Brazilians in Brazil. You know.
That makes sense. Go on. I don't want to cut you off, but you're making me. You're reminding me of a certain person.
Sure, and especially in Sao Paulo, there's a ton of Japanese Brazilians. But Japan has invested a lot of money in Latin America. Like back in 2022, $14 trillion in Latin America. I remember hearing about the oil that Brazil was getting out of their ground. They had a company called Petrobras. Invested Petrobras.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of what is it called when somebody like steals money from the company?
Embezzling?
Yeah, there's a lot of embezzling going on with that. So, but Japan was one of the bigger investors in all these things. But I'm wondering if, I don't know this is a conspiracy theory, just if their investments aren't paying out, because they're investing in Latin America so much and now their money's gone.
Wow, that's actually so interesting. Now, did you already say why? Was it a bad investment? What happened?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm kind of wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of embezzling going on in that one company.
Of course, we're talking about Latin America, baby. Ain't nothing like it. Okay, corruption. Okay, it's like
corruption.
You thought corruption was. You thought oh, that's what you were. You thought corruption was only for the government. Welcome to Latin America, baby. It's your neighbor. It's your cousin. It's your.
That's right. But so they're paying up all this money, and the Brazilians, the government, they're taking it all, and maybe Japan isn't getting it back, and that's why their yen isn't as good as it once was. It's possible. That's the reason why their yen is falling.
Well, I'd like to look into that. Very interesting. I wonder. You said when were these relations? How old were they? Like, I mean, it looks like they were established like 1895. I'm reading, and the Japanese economy has kind of since 1895 as. What I'm trying to say is they've spent and earned. They've eclipsed what that economy was back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever they may have lost, this is speculation because I don't know the details of what you're talking about, but whatever they may have lost then, that's probably a blip in the past. What I'm trying to get at, and what I will in continuing this sort of financial series here, is this at once shady, but now in the open, global finance system, and that is denoted by this term called the euro dollar, and it is behind a lot of things. It's really the perfect what's it called? It's the avatar of the financial system today, and we're going to try and explain that. And this ghost money financial system has wrought also its own cons. Okay, and we're seeing that play out in Japan, in my opinion.
Yeah, they weaken their yen to make room for this other thing.
It's in a sense a sacrifice. Some are saying those who are maybe more in the know in euro dollar, they're saying it's a sort of sacrifice in a sense to keep the international money system going. But was the sacrifice good enough? Not sure. We're seeing the plummeting yen. People are worried.
Yeah, it's a good time to get out of the yen.
Depends on who you ask. Appreciate that, Jaime. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Right on, sir. Call me again.
Bye.
888-775-3773. I should have known more about this Brazilian-Japanese connection. Fascinating. I'm learning from my own chat. I'm being educated by my own chat. Royce Gracie. You know about the Gracie family a little bit. The jiu-jitsu's founding fathers, maybe? I don't know if they created jiu-jitsu, but I know that name. That's this Brazilian family, the Gracie family, and their deep involvement in jiu-jitsu, no? They're absolutely, like, they're a dynasty. Is that fair to say? A jiu-jitsu dynasty. there's apparently a connection with the Gracies and Maeda, Mitsuyo Maeda. Some Japanese connection there to create what we know as the Gracies and all that. I'm remembering a certain album, the cover of a certain album, an album I played on Nick Stream Fridays. If you ever catch it, you want to be catching Nick Stream Fridays, okay? You might remember this photo. Remember this happy Japanese man falling out of the sky? We love this happy Japanese man falling out of the sky. Masayoshi Takanaka. This is his album, Brazilian Skies. A truly delightful collection of city pop and 1970s and 80s vibes with a little bit of a Brazilian Afro jazz flair. So that's pretty cool. I like that. That's interesting. Brazil, Japan. What a connection. I guess Masayoshi Takanaka really loved Brazil. Maybe even went there. Maybe even lived there. I don't know. Fascinating. Might have to play some Takanaka this Friday. It's pronounced Royce. Is that actually how it's pronounced? Royce. Yeah, that makes sense. That's how they speak. Renato. My name is Renato Larange. Royce Gracie. Cristiano Ronaldo. That's true. That is how you Portuguese it up. Cristiano Ronaldo. But okay, that's stuff. Let's move on, I think. We're going to get into BUKELE. Interesting things going on everywhere but here, I guess. Slow news, maybe. What's up, Bill? But before that, let's get to Steve. How you doing, Steve? You're on the air.
Nick, what's up, bro?
What's up, Steve? All is well.
Very well, sir. I think you summoned me talking all this jiu-jitsu, man.
Yeah. Well, you're deep into the jiu-jitsu? I didn't know that about you, I don't think. Unless you told me.
I've been rolling probably like 7-8 months now, and it's probably the best workout I can imagine.
I have a friend who really wants to get into rolling. It sounds fun, man. I've been meaning to.
Tell them start slow and, tap early, tap often, and you don't got to prove nothing, man. Just go slow.
And are you doing gi or gi-less?
No gi.
No gi. So that's even tougher, no?
I don't know. I think the amount of chokes may be limited, but the deeper you get into it, it's almost any little joint twist can be a tap if it's in the right position.
So what he's talking about is, the garb, the gi that you wear in like a martial arts dojo. You can also do it without the gi, because when you're doing jiu-jitsu with the gi, my understanding is that there's a whole bunch of different grabs and holds as opposed to when you don't, because you're using the gi as a way of leverage and you use it against your opponent. You tie them up with their gi.
So the way I look at it, if you were fighting someone in the wintertime, it would be like fighting someone in a gi. But if you're fighting in the summertime, it would be like fighting, no gi, because you probably wouldn't be as close.
Very cool.
But either way, I actually wanted to ask you a question, because you were talking a lot about currency earlier.
Mm.
So if the currency and economy in America is to be fixed, like hypothetically Donald Trump gets back in, sets the scale straight, what currency would you be willing to accept as barter?
U.S. dollar, baby. No, that's really not a question. I think it's a question that might be maybe a little bit out of my purview. It's honestly maybe not even the right question when I'm thinking about it, because a reserve currency is simply something everybody agrees on, and that is strong enough to do that. Even if you consider something for a second, when the Bretton Woods conference happened and they set up the International Monetary Fund, at the time, they set that up and they had that going. I forget which president it was at the time, said that the creation of the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency is just far too much. I'm paraphrasing, but it's far too much of a task for any one nation, he said.
Right.
And he essentially was correct, because the Bretton Woods kind of standard fell apart, and that's why so many things had to happen, the euro, et cetera. And what's going on now with euro dollar and all that, which I understand. Maybe some of you may not understand that quite yet, but we're going to get into it this week, hopefully. But back to your question, what's an acceptable currency? It's not really in my layman's opinion, I don't know if it's a question of what's an acceptable currency, but what's a system that will work. And everything I've said so far is not even. This is the part where I admit my own ignorance, because everything I've said so far is not even a true a disavowal of the current system, because we've benefited a lot from it. It's the best one that's ever been made. Whatever you may think about words like globalism and all that, we can have those conversations. That being said, there's more people than ever have been brought out of poverty. If you look at Shanghai in like 1990 to 2013, it's incredible. If you look at that whole region in the matter of 15, 20 years, it's
but also
truly incredible.
Think of how devalued currency has become, and so we're looking at high numbers now, and 100 years ago the numbers were lower, but that currency really never changed. They just they made it appear different, or so what I would say for me, it's like, all right, Trump, you fixed it, cool, man, love you, right? But we need gold and silver as lawful tender, because like if you go back to the Constitution, I think it's in Article 1 right there. It says only gold and silver will be exchanged as lawful tender.
Yeah, that's
I'm like. So, bro, I'm going to be walking around with a scale, and I'm going to be shaving off little gold flakes. I'll be like, all right, here's 3 gold flakes for that pack of Skittles, dude. Here you go.
And if I was a smart person, I would accept that. If I was a smart convenience store owner or whatever, I'd be like, I'd grab a scale and I'd figure it out and be like, thank you, and start hoarding. I would start hoarding that gold. But that being said,
you check my weight, bro. Like you double check how much I weighed out, and okay, we're square up.
But let me ask you this. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because what happens if, we got the Trump dollar now, and then 50 years down the road, oh man, this Trump dollar ain't buying what it used to, and then 100 years from there, we're back here again. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you this, because now we're talking about maybe things a little less accurately. When you say Trump fixed the money system, what do you mean?
So I'm just slapping a character to it, like
totally. And
I'm
that's
not
fine.
trying
That's
to
fine.
defame him. Yeah. No, we rolling with Trump.
Totally. But when you say fix it, when you say, hey, because I think he could do very positive things for that.
He could do it in
fact,
5 seconds.
even we have to define what we mean by fix. But yeah, I think he may even be able to fix it, so to speak. But what do you mean by that?
What I mean by fixing it is slapping it back to the gold standard. Like you were saying earlier, it's an agreed upon value. So currently it's agreed upon on oil base.
Yeah, I don't know if we're.
But I'm looking constitutionally. It's like,
I understand,
like what did they do 200 years ago? Oh, they were using gold and silver.
Well, when you find out, sorry, I'll let you finish. I cut you off. What did they do?
No, and then after that, I got my Second Amendment. So if someone wants to take my lawful tender, I can, stand my ground and defend. And then I got the First Amendment, getting protected by that, and I could say whatever the heck I want. If we went back to that document and started there, man, I think we could fix a lot.
When you find out, what can we fix? Well, I'll say this: when you find out what Milton Friedman and what the world means by Eurodollar, you'll realize why they won't go back to the gold standard.
Okay, so that's something I definitely have to look into then.
No, yeah, we'll hopefully get into it in the following days a little bit, as if people find it interesting. But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, Steve, here?
No, man, I definitely find that interesting, and I appreciate all you guys, and just keep doing it, man.
Appreciate it, sir. Call me again.
Yeah, bless you. Bye.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. What are y'all saying? Because what did I want to get into here in the last bit of the show? I know I have calls. Hold on. Hopefully, I'll get back to you here. We'll do this quick, I think. I think we could do this. I think we could plow through this, as they say. Back-to-back quick stories. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll do one and see if we're not going to do justice to the other, then we'll leave it for another day. Because we also have a caller on hold. Thank you for that. We'll get to you. Big moves by Bukele. You may know him. Nayib? How do you say his name again? Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador since 2019. He's the guy who's cracking down on the cartels, cracking down on crime, filling those prisons up full of these little brown tattooed individuals, usually bald. They got like mustache, they're all like choloed out. Socks all the way up to the knees. All okay, maybe I'm just adding to it. But they're all there. They're out there, okay? They're in the prisons. They got them in the prisons. Bukele is taking names or what is it? What do you do when you're kicking those things? Do you take names when you kick those things? I forget. You know what things I'm talking about. When you kick those, do you take names? Look, Nayib Bukele is either taking or not taking names, but he's putting those criminals in. And he's got his entire executive branch together. He sat them around himself. And he started with a little story. And he basically gathered his whole executive branch before him to inform them that they're all under investigation for corruption. Is it totalitarian control? Is it based? I don't know, but it is fascinating, that's for sure. El Salvador's dictator he's called that by Times Now. Times Now with their headline, El Salvador's dictator Nayib Bukele turns Nayak, launches corruption investigation into entire government. I mean, I know that the populist in all of us is clamoring, is like, yes, that sounds amazing. I want that over here. And I don't know the intricacies of El Salvador, and I don't want to have egg on my face on things I don't know. But I know that there are many here who they feel like almost a FOMO, like, man, we want a Bukele. Anti-corruption, and it is an amazing scene a little bit. It's in Spanish, so you may not understand, but that is essentially what he's doing in this video. He's got them gathered to tell them, hey, there was a president. He starts it off, he's like, there was a president. The president, I think he's talking about the president before him, in fact. The president before me, they never could get him on corruption. He said he wasn't corrupt, or he wasn't corrupt, he says, something like that. But everyone around him was corrupt. And so he too was tainted, he says. Tainted with this corruption. And you got to understand the mafia, the mafiosi, friggin' Game of Thrones energy here, where he's like, that's what happened to that president. But that's not going to happen to me, he says. That's how he's putting it. That's the level of mafia level, like, you know what I'm trying to say here? Like, he sits them around him. They're all starting to smile at this point. Like, what's he getting at? There was a president at one time before me, surrounded by corrupt individuals, but that will not happen to me.
Como pueden ver ustedes todos.
It's like Joker level. Like, what is this? This is like.
Los que estamos aquí reunidos son parte del ejecutivo.
Everybody here is part of the executive branch.
Que es del cual yo estoy encargado, a excepción de
of
una
which
persona.
I am in charge of.
Es el fiscal general que está aquí. Él no es del ejecutivo.
This guy, he's not an executive branch, but he's here for one reason.
Y es porque le quiero pedir en público.
Because I want to ask him publicly.
De que investiguemos a todos los que están.
That we're going to investigate everybody here. Whoa.
Para atrás y para adelante.
Retroactively, he says.
Yo me imagino que pues no hay ningún problema.
I imagine there should be no problem, right?
Me dijo una vez, mire, tú no,
it's not like you're afraid of what does he say here? Are you afraid of death? He says. It's not like are you afraid of death?
Temes a la muerte. Yo le dije, no, pues claro,
Of
nadie
course
se quiere
not.
morir.
I'm not afraid of. Let me back it up, okay? I don't want to give you fake news.
Para atrás y para adelante.
So he's going to investigate people retroactively and moving forward. Amazing.
Yo me imagino que pues no hay ningún problema, ¿no?
He's like, there's probably no problem with that, right?
Que me dijo, no, tú no le temes a la muerte. Yo le dije, no, pues claro, nadie.
And so someone close to him asked him, aren't you afraid of dying? He said, of course.
Se quiere morir.
He said, of course I don't want to die.
Yo no me quiero morir.
I don't want to die, but
yo sé que me voy a morir.
But I know one day I will die.
Si hay algo que no se puede escapar es de la
you
muerte.
cannot escape
Todos
death.
los que estamos aquí pues, en 100 años pues, no va a haber nadie vivo.
In 100 years, everybody in this room will be gone.
¿Qué? Nadie sabe cómo se llama el papá del abuelo de uno.
Nobody knows the name of your great-grandfather, etc. But there is one thing I fear, and that is to leave a bad legacy. Some presidents, some are in prison, he says. There are some are on the run. But most are remembered as criminals. That's not how I want to be remembered. So I don't rob, because I do not want to be remembered as a thief. But for one president, Duarte, for example, the people called him corrupt. He isn't a thief, though, but he surrounded himself with thieves. There was a time he offered hope to the people. But even if it's true that he did not, that he wasn't corrupt, how foolish he was, because he surrounded himself with thieves and corrupt people. And so he tainted his legacy. And so that's not happening to me. I will not be the president that did not steal, but was surrounded by thieves. Dang, stern faces in the audience. Dang. I mean, incredible stuff. Just in its awe-invoking level. Now, I can't say I know the intricacies, and I do not want to say things I don't know about. I don't want to talk about things I don't know about. But there are things we can conclude. For example, that a government can, in fact, deal with crime. That it's not a mystery. That it's not a big mystery. What will we do about crime? What can we do about the border? It's not a big old mystery. Some things we can conclude. Incredible stuff. That's pretty much the show. But we're gonna get to Kevin. Kevin, New York, sir, you're on the air. Speak freely. We got 5 minutes. We don't need to be rushed. You're on the air, sir. Thank you.
Oh, all right. How you doing, Nick?
All is well, sir. Thank you for your call.
All right. Hopefully I can get into all this, and hopefully there really isn't a rush.
Depends on how big your topic is, right? If 4 minutes is too rushed for you, hey, feel free to speak on what you can. You can always call me back.
I got two topics.
Okay.
First of all, I called in to try to make a really quick slam dunk on the flat earthers.
Ooh.
And I hope Sean is listening. You see, because I've heard this stuff years back and everything. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I did research on it myself. And conclusion, I'm a baltard, just like Hank.
Baltards.
I mean, and here's my proof and everything.
Obvious Globers, baltards. Go on.
I'm sorry?
My bad. Go on.
Oh. Well, here's the thing to smoke on, okay?
Nice.
Because one of my problems is that no two flat earthers seem to agree with each other. And I'm starting to hear more and more that space isn't a real thing. Okay?
Gotcha.
So, and flat earthers like to use the Bible as their backdrop for proving what they believe is the flat earth. Well, I know a lot of you aren't going to agree with me that the Apocrypha isn't the Bible, but I have something interesting for all of you. Read something called, it's the apocryphal book called the Cave of Treasures. Okay? To give you a little bit of context, it's the place that God gave Adam and Eve to live after they were kicked out of the garden. But to get directly to it, when you read the apocryphal book, the Cave of Treasures, read the second day of creation. It's literally telling you that there is outer space. It's literally telling you that. Okay?
There's a little apocryphal testament? No, apocryphal proof for you. Space is, according to Kevin, space is talked about in the Apocrypha.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't use the word space, but if you read closely,
all I gotta say,
every word that's used, it's telling us exactly that. You know?
I'll have to check it out, man. Interesting. All I gotta say is about this space business, if it exists or doesn't. Well, what does that say about intercontinental ballistic missiles? Should I be afraid or not?
Never be afraid.
Exactly. Right on, Kevin. Appreciate that, man. Anything else you want to say here before we move the wheels?
Oh, yes. I believe it was Frederick who was calling earlier, who was talking about, I heard the end of his call saying, why did God flood the earth and stuff like that if he was so perfect? It's the same thing that I hear from atheists all the time. They have such juvenile sort of opinions about God. Look at it this way, everyone. Okay? Now, of course, people like atheists would have, and even Christians would have questions like, why does God allow starving children and so much death and evil in the world? Well, look at it like this. This is what I've come to understand, that maybe from God's perspective, that the death of the body isn't the worst thing that could happen to us. That's it. That's literally it. Yeah, absolutely.
Fascinating.
Thank you, man. I can elaborate much more, but I know we're short on time.
Yeah, call me back on this. Definitely elaborate, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Kevin, call me again. Oh, he probably said bye, but that was a perfect ending. So I clicked the button. I didn't mean to, but it was just perfect. So, hey, that's how we're going to do it. Kevin, call me again. Kevin, New York. Fascinating stuff. To those who wonder, like, why would God do such a thing? I'll leave you with this. You didn't, because it's like people are quick to say things like, I wouldn't do that. Why would God flood the world? I wouldn't do such a horrible thing to the poor little humans of the world. Before you're too quick on saying these things, you didn't know those people. That sounds maybe, I'm just saying, you didn't know them. You didn't meet them. If you had met them, maybe you would have felt like God. I'm flushing these. A little glib, talking glibly about the flooding of the world. What do I know? Appreciate you tuning in with me today. We're over time. That's the show. Call me tomorrow. More American Anchor Baby. Wednesday, we got, it's a Manhood Hour. The Hake Report. Joel Friday. And American Anchor Baby. So catch me tomorrow. Appreciate everybody. We'll do super chats and everything that I missed tomorrow. Take care. See you tomorrow. Peace.